All right, man. We are back in here again, man. We are breaking into our current event section here, man. So we're going to go ahead and dive in. If you don't know, if you've been under a rock, anything like that, if you've just been missing in society or what's going on in the world right now, we're going to catch you up just quickly, a quick brief before we dive into the video here, man. As you know, the United States and Israel coordinated strikes in Iran that did in turn kill two of the leaders, Ayatollah and a couple other people. I believe he did have a underground bunker in which they were having a private meeting, and they caught them and blew them up, basically. So that sparked a lot of outrage. There's a lot of talks going on, whether it's World War III, whether it's not, what the implications are, what's coming moving forward. Of course, you can expect for Iran, Hezbollah, all the terror groups that they're, the Houthis, people that they're involved with, to be planning, some type of retaliation. So we can, try and break down as far as what the strike was for, what it means, and what's going to happen moving forward. Let's go ahead and dive into the video, though, here.
U.S. forces turning Iran's own drone playbook against them, deploying Iranian-inspired kamikaze drones for the first time in combat. It was all part of rare daytime strike taking down senior leaders in Tehran, including its supreme leader, Ayatollah Khamenei. Fox News senior strategic analyst, retired four-star General Jack Keane, joins us now. General, thank you for joining us. We've seen the videos from CENTCOM of this, the first 24 hours. It was a bold target package and what appears to be flawless execution. Walk me through what we've witnessed and where we're headed.
Yeah, certainly. Well, let's start offensively. Over 2,000 airstrikes were conducted in the last 24 hours. That's really quite remarkable. This combination of the IDF and Central Command's capabilities. And certainly we've seen some of the effects of that. A lot, obviously, we can't see, but the leadership targets themselves have been nothing short of remarkable. And Ali Larijani, who is the secretary to the Supreme National Security Council, think of our National Security Council, that's the position he holds. That's a dual position in the United States, National Security Advisor and Director of National Security Council. Marco Rubio, Secretary of State, holds that position now. He was the heir apparent. He is in charge, according to the Israelis. And certainly he is going to be targeted for sure. And as are other leadership targets still that have not been touched. But the primary focus over the next 48 hours, as it was during the first 24 hours, are Iran's retaliation capability. We are hitting their ballistic missiles and certainly their drone storage sites and writ large. That will, in the next 48 hours, will likely touch 60-70% of that capability. So we will see every single day less Iranian capability for retaliation for all the obvious reasons. We want to minimize as much.
Okay, so what that means, breaking it down, let's reverse a little bit here. First off, like he said, flawless execution as far as the coordination of the strikes. I mean, their optics, everything that they use as far as getting their intel and then striking at the proper time when everybody was there, their, confirmed targets that they were looking for, they were able to strike with precision. So that means they hit their targets, hit who they needed to hit when they needed to hit them. Now, moving forward, it seems like they're already, taking progressive steps as far as damaging their weapon loadouts. So what that means for us is we're trying to prevent their ability to be able to do counter strikes. Now, one thing that we have to take into account is that all of these terror groups do have incels. What that means is in different locations, whether that's in Europe, Australia, America, South America, Mexico, all these different places, they have sleeper cells. So what that can do is that can activate inside of your backyard, essentially, and you have acts of terror that are going to start popping up across America. So if you're somebody that's just now getting into this or looking out for the future and you want to know what is the cause and effect of this, well, you're going to get the effect of sleeper cell terrorism. So you're going to have people, trying to perform attacks, much like all we see with like a lot of the transgender shootings and people doing mass shootings at schools and all of those different types of things that's going on nowadays. You're going to see an increase of that, and you're going to see more, people of Middle Eastern descent conducting these. Let's go ahead and see what they're talking about.
As possible casualties to the Israeli civilian population and military bases, and certainly the same thing in terms of our U.S. bases in the region and our allies and partners bases in the Gulf states. So that's going to receive a tremendous focus, and this was the plan from the beginning, to go conduct massive strikes against their retaliation capability, knowing even though overall Iran is in a weakened state, the thing that they worked on so earnestly after the 12-day war that ended in June was their ballistic missile capability and increase in drones. And that is receiving a primary focus here over the next 48 hours, And also they're stripping away these attacks you see taking place in Iran. We said at the outset that we fully intend to strip away the capability that Iran has to sustain this regime. It starts with leadership, but is much more comprehensive than that. This is the IRGC. This is the Basel militia. This is the police infrastructure. And it's not just buildings. It's the entire communication infrastructure. It's their command and control capability. That will be systematically and deliberately stripped away to include their defense industrial base. If there's a factory out there that helps build ballistic missiles or drones, believe me, it's on the target list. They're going to take all of that away. So at the end of the day, Iran does not have a capability to recover its ballistic missile program. We intend to destroy that capability and also to destroy their drone capabilities. Offensive operations are in the early stages here. Defensive operations, it's obvious that Iran has not been able to generate the offensive capability that was expected here. And why is that? If you decapitate leadership, if you destroy command and control, if you conduct significant cyber attacks on the command and control capability, that is a major disruption in terms of its effects offensively and the primary targeting on ballistic missiles and drones from the outset.
Right.
Nonetheless, they have expanded into the Gulf states, and you can see that taking place. The Gulf states are adequately defending themselves. Three of them are preparing for combat offensive operations. One has already started, and two others are about to get going. I'm not going to talk about who they are, but that is being coordinated with Admiral Cooper and Central Command. These will be coordinated, selected targets, and they will contribute to the offensive nature of what's taking place.
So what that means, essentially, like when they keep mentioning offensive, attacks, things of that nature, what they're doing is they're being proactive to try and prevent counterattacks from Iran. So what they're doing is they're setting up a perimeter around the United States using the Gulf states, things like Greenland, why that's so important, things that people don't really like to take into consideration, but it all is a protection against yourself. So you need to have a perimeter around the United States. So if it, essentially, what they're doing is setting up a perimeter there and then being able to attack progressively each target that they need to. So, they can take their time as well, but taking their time in this situation wouldn't really make much sense, because if Iran, you've already killed a leader, so you got them in a bit of confusion with that necessarily. But once they get themselves regrouped slightly, they are going to be trying to get on the offensive. So while they're regrouping, you're already mobilizing other units and available to go ahead and, deteriorate any forces that they would have to be able to try and attack our Gulf side forces. So it's a great thing, in my opinion, whether you are for or against war. Honestly, I think this is something that's proactive, because Iran is one of the leaders of terror, and terror is not just in Iran. They're not just doing things to their people, they're doing things to people in the United States, people in all countries across the world. So, effectively neutralizing them and stopping them from growing, I feel like is a good thing. Now, you can agree to disagree on that, but me personally, I do feel like this is a good thing from the Trump regime. I know that it will come with backlash and backfire, but at the same time, you would rather have the minimal backfire that you're going to have from conducting these attacks than to have, a huge attack or a huge threat by allowing Iran to continue to grow their missile forces, their drones, and potentially setting up, nuclear reactors and things of that nature. That, honestly, think about it. You want Iran to have nuclear capabilities and be able to do things like that? Absolutely not. So let's go ahead and break down a little bit more what they were talking about, and then we'll get up out of here.
The IDF, Central Command, and the Gulf states. Listen, this backfired on the Iranians. They thought that this would create an international uproar. The war is being expanded. It's now a regional war. And as such, pressure being put on the United States and Israelis to bring this to a halt. The Gulf states are responding. They're adequately defending themselves. A lot of that ability to defend themselves comes from U.S. defense measures, by the way, that they have purchased from us in military deals. But they are frustrated with the Iranians. They publicly were supporting the Iranians and resisting the strike. Privately, they were supporting the U.S. and the IDF. I think we should knock that nonsense off once and for all. You're with us publicly and privately. And hopefully they've learned a big lesson here from the Iranians. None of that worked with the Iranians. So, yes, we've got a coordinated response here that's taken place that will add to the effectiveness of our operations. We do have air superiority. That means we have freedom of the skies, and we can go where we want to go. There were attacks in 17 different provinces in the first 24 hours. Quite significant in those 2,000 or so sorties that were conducted.
Well, in general, I think you may be making some news there to have.
All right, man. So that's going to do it for this video. Honestly, I believe it's very good to move proactively. I don't think it's good to wait for someone to mobilize their forces and gain stronger, especially them being an enemy and someone that has sleeper cells within your country. So being able to neutralize that threat immediately and effectively, I feel like that's a good thing. Let me know in the comments what you think. Do you think the Iran strikes were good, bad, indifferent? Do you think it's going to cause World War III? Are you nervous? Are you scared? Let me know below how you feel, man. Whether you do or not, it's on you. Out of here.